Allah, Allah.
Oh, say, can you see?
Assalamu alaikum, brothers.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Let's go.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam.
Mention America and Islam and most people think of irreconcilable conflict, but I suspect that's not the whole story. In this two-part series, I hope to discover the true relationship that's evolving between the two. There are said to be 8 million Muslims in the United States, and the faith is said to be the fastest growing religion in this country. And the roots and history of Islam are longer than most people are aware of. I want to travel across this huge country to find out the stories of what it's like to be an American Muslim. In this first program, I'll be searching for the origins of Islam in America, talking to African Americans who are just discovering their own Islamic history and exploring if being American fits comfortably with being Muslim. My journey begins with a trip to Minneapolis in the Midwest. It may seem an odd destination for a program on Islam because its citizens are mostly Jewish and Christian. But in 2007, voters here elected America's first Muslim congressman, Keith Ellison. Keith's back on the campaign trail on a most significant anniversary. Today is Juneteenth. It commemorates June 19, 1865, the abolition of slavery. These are local political activists, and they're coming on the parade to get people in this community fired up about voting. And at the heart of their efforts are young Muslims playing their part to try and get Congressman Keith Ellison, the first Muslim in Congress, re-elected.
How are you doing? Good to see you, Raggy.
Nice to see you.
Keith Ellison is a charismatic politician who's keen to get young Muslims started in politics.
Well, you know, we're just having fun out here.
Yeah.
Keith introduces me to his intern, Cowell.
What did you say to sort of young Muslims who are living in other parts of the world who think being a Muslim in America is a very tough thing? Is that true?
I mean, there's advantages, there's disadvantages. We definitely have a lot more opportunities. It's kind of difficult growing up in a different, especially where I'm from, it's Wisconsin. I'm the only Muslim in my school, the only Muslim in my high school. So that's definitely a challenge. But once you get past that, you know, there's so many different avenues, so many different opportunities for you to connect with.
And what it's like to be a Muslim in the United States. It's challenging and rewarding all at the same time. But I think the most important thing to remember is that you own this.
You know what? We can make it all big if we want to. And I encourage all Muslims around the world to actually do the same. You know, please get to know your elected officials, vote, you know. That's the only way you can make a difference.
Come on, let's go.
Okay.
All right. How you guys doing? Happy Juneteenth. You know, this is when the slaves got freed, right?
This is a great example of the American art of glad handing. It's the way to the electoral heart of the nation, how candidates meet their voters, and it's paid off for Keith here in Minneapolis, and it's worked elsewhere. Now, Americans have elected 2 Muslims to Congress.
All these groups that have historically been on the margins of American society now coming in, you know, and there's enough for everybody, right? Isn't there enough? Okay.
For those Muslims around the world in Western countries who have no idea about the community here, how would you say life is for Muslims in America at the moment, in all walks and areas of life?
You do hear about people getting hassled in the airports. You know, there's a long way to go.
Absolutely. Because the impression most people have, I mean, come from Britain in terms of the Muslims here, is that basically everyone's hiding under their beds. And,
Wrong.
you know, that's broadly speaking, that Muslims are living in the belly of the beast. That's what they believe.
Well, not only did I just get elected by an overwhelmingly Jewish and Christian community, so did Andre Carson, who's Muslim in Indiana. So people need to not look for excuses to disengage. You have to get involved. You have to run the risk that you're going to encounter bumps and along the way, but you still
have to be seen and heard.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. It's great to meet you.
Anytime, Roxy.
Certainly, Keith needed the votes of Christians and Jews to get elected. But there's a community of 44,000 Somali Muslims here, the biggest in America. They even have their own TV network, and they all got behind Keith.
This is Somali TV of Minnesota, and we are so glad to have here today with Ragi Omar from Al Jazeera. Okay, Ragi, let's focus to you are Muslim and you are in Europe countries.
I think Muslims in European countries believe that, you know, they enjoy the greatest freedoms, and the Muslim communities in the West are thriving most of all in Europe. And when they think about the position of Muslims in America, to be honest with you, I think they think that the numbers are tiny. Before I caught the plane here, actually, I was with my mum, and I asked her, I said, Mum, hoyu, as we say in Somali, how many Muslims do you think there are in the whole of the United States? And she said 100,000, 150,000, you know?
Wow, the whole United States.
In the whole United States. Wow. But I mean, as I understand it, there's anywhere between 5 and 8 million.
That's the number.
I mean, when you think about America as the land of opportunity and sort of seizing things with both hands, maybe sort of, you know, the next Ragi Omars, if I could be so arrogant as to say that, will come from here. Maybe it's you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much.
I have distant relatives in the Somali community here. They were among the first to escape the civil war that's been raging in my homeland off and on for decades. 20 years on, and a new wave of refugees has arrived from Somalia. Some have just graduated college and are throwing a party to celebrate their achievements.
We came here to take advantage of the opportunities that are here. At the same time, to keep our identity as Muslims. We're all going through the same experiences. Let's not forget our identity, and let's give back to the community. That's what I think.
I'm a very blessed person, because, excuse me while I get a little bit emotional. We've been given so much, you know, we've gone through so much, but you read the news, what's happening at home, I have nothing to complain about.
After that, we need some laughs, so I want to welcome Abdullah to here.
Thank you very much. But the problem is I don't speak English. Should I speak Somali, Ragi?
Better than me.
Marco, he's a big shot, making $1 million a year. Who knows? Dana Salama, how you doing, mommy? You have to vote for me. Who knows? Hortalo, why? Still, how you try? Why? I don't
My adopted home, England, has a bigger Somali community than Minneapolis, and it's been settled for longer. But they don't tend to think of England as home. My parents are typical. Their mental bags are still packed to return to Somalia. But that's not true here. These Somalis, no less scarred or traumatized by their experiences, have planted roots deeper and faster than any Somali community I've seen in the world. They don't talk of returning home, they are home.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, nice to meet you. These girls, come on. How are you?
It's a message that came across loud and clear, and I was still hearing it in the taxi to the airport with Abdi Mohammed.
So how long have you lived here, Abdi?
It's 13 years.
13 years?
Yeah.
And you came from Somalia?
Somalia.
Yeah.
Mogadishu.
In Mogadishu?
Yep.
I was born there. Haven't been there for a long time there.
There's a lot of problem last 15, 17 years.
Yeah.
In England, we Somalis, you know, we're not that organized, you know?
Here in America, if you don't organize, if you don't vote, if you don't participate, American way of living, you lost.
Yeah.
So you know bad.
That's the way to be visible, that's the way to get heard.
Yes.
Can you be Muslim and American, Abdi?
Yes.
Do you have to sacrifice one to be the other?
You have to be American first, and you have to do what other Americans do. You sacrifice your life to defending America, because this is our country. This is.
You feel that? I mean, you don't think about going back home?
I'll sacrifice my life defending this country, because the opportunity I get, the welcoming I get.
That's a powerful statement.
Compared to where I come from, how we were, how I was, you know, a lot of friends of mine who died the war, where I come from, coming here, you know, having what I have, is home.
Minnesota is a liberal state in the democratic heartland of the Midwest, a welcoming place for these Somalis, the latest black immigrants to establish themselves in America. But in the early years of its history, America was the very opposite of welcoming for the first Africans to reach these shores. For 300 years, Africans were brought here in chains as slave labor. I'm heading to Jackson, Mississippi in the Deep South to meet some of the descendants of those first African Americans, because it seems that their history lies at the heart of the story of Islam in America.
This impressive-looking building is actually the state capital of Mississippi. And I'll be honest, I've come with my own really strong preconceptions about the South. For me, it's about being in the heart of the Bible Belt, it's about prejudice and a history of segregation. But I've actually been told that the story of Islam in America begins, of all places, here, centuries before Muhammad Ali or Malcolm X. And it's a story that begins with slavery.
It starts here because most of the slaves shipped from Africa came to work the plantations of the South. Among them were Muslims, but they were forbidden by law from practicing their faith.